Everyone in the world is in debt. The United States owes $38 trillion. Japan owes $9 trillion. Total global debt stands at $315 trillion. That's roughly 3 times the size of the entire world economy. But here's the real question. If everyone is in debt, who are we in debt to? Think about it. Seriously, to whom? To another country, to a secret family, to a small group of bankers? The answer is more fascinating than you think. The world is largely indebted to itself. Governments owe money to pension funds. Banks owe money to each other. Central banks are loaded with government bonds. Citizens' retirement accounts contain government debt. The system is like a closed loop, but this loop didn't appear overnight. It was built step by step over centuries. And with each step, the system leaned a little more toward permanent debt. Let's go back to 1694. Back then, kings borrowed money. If they couldn't repay it, they went bankrupt. The creditor took the loss, the debt was wiped out. Everyone reset, there was risk, but debt didn't last forever. Then William Paterson came along. England was at war. The treasury was empty. The solution. A bank was created, the Bank of England. The government borrowed money. But it didn't have to repay the principal immediately. It would just pay interest. And that debt could now be bought and sold in the market. Here's where something critical happened. Debt stopped being a temporary crisis. It became a permanent financial instrument. Government debt became part of the system itself. Now we move to the 1800s. Nathan Rothschild enters the stage. He internationalized debt. Government bonds could now be traded across borders. A British bond could move to a French investor, then to a German bank. Debt no longer belonged to one person, it belonged to a network. And that network became so complex that a default wouldn't hurt just one party. It could affect everyone. Not paying debt no longer meant I can't pay. It meant the whole system could collapse. Fast forward to America. A financial panic hits. Banks are failing. J.P. Morgan gathers bankers and stabilizes the system. But he realizes something. This can't rely on private rescues forever. In 1913, the Federal Reserve is created. Now the government issues bonds. The central bank buys them. Money is created. From this point on, debt no longer has a natural ceiling, because there is an institution capable of purchasing those bonds. An institution with the power to create money. Then comes the inflation crisis. Paul Volcker raises interest rates to 20%. Inflation in the U.S. falls. But developing countries with dollar-denominated debt suddenly see their obligations explode. Mexico, Brazil, Argentina can't pay. The system teeters, but the debt isn't erased. It's restructured. The IMF steps in. New loans are issued. Old debt isn't eliminated. It's postponed. Interest continues to flow, and this model has repeated for 40 years. Today, we stand at $315 trillion in global debt. And let me say this honestly, a large portion of that debt will never be fully repaid, because the system isn't designed for that. What would happen if governments completely eliminated their debt? The money supply in markets would shrink dramatically. The economy would contract, the system would shake. Debt is no longer a mistake, it's fuel. Interest is the cost of running this system. Every year, trillions of dollars in interest payments move. From taxpayers to bond holders, most people don't even notice. Because it doesn't appear as a tax, it's called debt service. Here's what's interesting. These four figures didn't sit in the same room and design a master plan, but each of them made the system more permanent, bigger, and harder to escape. Patterson made debt permanent. Rothschild globalized it. Morgan removed its limits. Volcker reinforced the mechanism that prevents collapse during crises. The result, $38 trillion, isn't an accident. It's the outcome of a design. Debt isn't a flaw. It's the foundation, and interest, it's the price of living inside this structure.